Okay, so I'm gonna join all the other people online who are doing videos from their car, but I wanted to put this out and I didn't want to forget. So for those of you who've been listening or heard my other videos about me accompanying clients to bituach leumi with their children with a diagnosis of ASD, with autism, high functioning, and being unpleasantly surprised, being rejected about things that we where beforehand was no problem to get accepted. So I did some due diligence and some homework because it bothers me. Like, as an advocate, it bothers me when I feel like things are unjust. So I ended up speaking to a lawyer who works with a law clinic for people with disabilities. It's like different law schools have these law clinics. And she had said that she'd heard that from several people who had contacted her, and she said she was going to investigate a bit and see what was happening. And she spoke to the Ya'utz Mishpati, so like the law advice advocate consultant for Alut, which is a large nonprofit organization that helps children with autism. And they explained that what they had encountered was apparently there were a few psychiatrists who bituach leumi felt were handing out diagnoses for autism that wasn't really based on anything, and so they decided that they were being misled or etc., and they were going to crack down. So basically, anybody who's coming with an assessment from a private psychiatrist and not through the Kupat Cholim or Child Development Center, which is Mechonit Petchut Yeled, they are a bit rejecting a priori or making that person go to their psychiatrist, which apparently they're allowed to do. I thought it sounded like a bit of conflict of interest, but apparently they have a protocol. They passed a law that says yes, they can consult their own people, and these psychiatrists are evaluating in what I feel like is a much more shallow and superficial manner, but they're evaluating and then they are sometimes contradicting the evaluation of the private psychiatrist. So basically the take home is, if you're getting your child diagnosed for ASD, best to do it through a public service, which in general I always recommend people. I know it's incredibly difficult to get an appointment, and also sometimes the professionals that you're working with, you're a little bit like not so clear, but just know that that's kind of like, if you can do that, that's your best bet. And if you've got a private, so now where we are now in the private psychiatry realm, basically showing bituach leumi that you did your due diligence that you would have liked to have done in the public sector, but there were no appointments, and that comparing the comprehensive evaluation of the private psychiatrist, which is very clear, versus the more shallow evaluation done by the psychiatrist from bituach leumi, demonstrates that you in fact have a case. So the question becomes, like, if the diagnosis was more like on the border, or the psychiatrist themselves, who was private, had questions, that might weaken the situation. But that's where we are now, just so everybody understands what this came from and how best to go about it and approach it going forward.